Today I'm going to play you my brother's cover of Love Song by The Cure. Love Song is the most covered song by The Cure. And most people who know me know that The Cure is my favorite rock band in the entire history of rock and roll. In terms of the quality of their songs and the quantity of great songs, no one can rival them. Possibly the Beatles can equal them in quantity of great songs. But I do believe that the great songs by The Cure are better than the great songs by the Beatles. And I realize that The Cure came along very late in the history of rock and roll. and that what they did and what many other bands did would not have been possible but without the innovations and the boundaries that were crossed by the Beatles. But I do really, and it's hard to compare because the Beatles songs are very uplifting and the Cure songs are very dark. But there are many great songs in the history of rock and roll. There are many masterpieces in the history of rock and roll. Bob Dylan's Idiot Wind is a masterpiece. All Along the Watchtower covered by Jimi Hendrix. Jimi Hendrix's Little Wing is a masterpiece. Joni Mitchell, California and Woodstock. Traffic, Low Spark by High Heeled Boys and John Barleycorn. And there are a number of other singers who want to strike an emotion in the listener. Roy Orbison and Lou Reed. Lou Reed even said, "I write songs because I want to strike an emotion in the listener," and he does, with songs like "Satellite of Love" and "Perfect Day." The Cure songs don't do that. The Cure songs are very cerebral. They're very dark. They're very cerebral. And they draw out your intellect, and they also appeal to your aesthetic sensibilities. So listening to The Cure is like, it just draws you in like a great, dramatic art, or staring at a beautiful woman like Grace Kelly or January Jones. And it just draws you in, and you just sit there and you say, wow, that's just so beautiful. And it doesn't really make you cry or anything like that, like a Roy Orbison song or a Lou Reed song. So, and Cat Stevens has some very pretty songs, and there are just some really great songs in the history of rock and roll. But I think that The Cure are just the outer limits. They really just crossed the boundaries, and they just went so far, and they just wrote some truly astoundingly beautiful songs. One thing you don't do with us older, long-term Cure fans is you don't tread on the sacred ground of the early Cure albums, which is exactly what the critics do. The critics seem to think that Disintegration is one of their great albums, or one of their best albums. And in my not-so-humble opinion, my regal and imperious opinion, Disintegration is a mediocre album. It was really the beginning of the end for The Cure. From 1977 to 1987, The Cure did somewhere between 7 and 10, probably 7 or 8 albums on which every song was a masterpiece. Or at least 99.9% of the songs were masterpieces. And there is nothing on Disintegration that can compare to those earlier songs. But if you talk to the critics, they will put Disintegration, and Disintegration was really the beginning of the end for The Cure. because with that album and in the albums after Disintegration, they just never did a really good album or even a really great song. And there's nothing on but the critics absolutely love the Disintegration album, and the public really likes it. And even The Cure thinks it's their best album. So if you read these lists of albums and you read, articles by The Cure, about The Cure, and the critics will say, oh, the Disintegration is at the top. There is nothing on Disintegration that can even remotely compare to the songs on their earlier albums. Songs such as A Strange Day, A Forest, Three Imaginary Boys, Faith, Cold, Siamese Twins, Charlotte Sometimes, The Drowning Man, All Cats Are Gray. There's just no comparison to those songs and the songs that began with Disintegration and afterwards. So we are going to just disregard what the critics have to say here today, and the opinions that you get here are not going to be very mainstream. My opinions are very contrarian, and if you're looking for mainstream, you've come to the wrong place, because I'm not a mainstream kind of girl. But let me see. So Love Song. Most of Robert Smith's songs were about losing. Most of his pop songs that were love songs were about losing the girl. 10:15 on a Saturday night. And I'm wondering where she's been. And I'm crying for yesterday. And the tap drip, 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 do 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 do. 10:15 on a Saturday night. Losing the girl, A Forest. The girl was never there. It's always the same. A runner who was nothing. Again and again and again and again. And he goes on with again and again and again so many times, like a Gregorian chant. It's so beautiful. Losing the Girl, Just One Kiss. I love it, all these games you play. I close my eyes, you run away. Losing the Girl. Boys Don't Cry, another one about losing the girl. Just Like Heaven, it's kind of about losing the girl, but it's kind of not. And it was the song that catapulted it. It's probably one of the greatest pop songs ever written. And it was the song that catapulted The Cure into international stardom. Ironic that a pop song would do that, but their rock songs are so great too. But so what else do I have to say about The Cure? So most of their love songs are about losing the girl, and Just Like Heaven is kind of about losing the girl, but it was written about his wife Mary, so it's kind of not about losing the girl, but kind of a mixture. But Love Song was the first straightforward love song that Robert Smith wrote. And I think he probably wrote a good song. I don't really like the execution of it. I think the song is overproduced, and I think it has a pop sound that doesn't really need to have. And so I think it's the fourth song on the Disintegration album, and every album beginning with Disintegration and the albums that came after Disintegration, the albums were all pretty mediocre, except possibly Blood Flowers, which was he did some very beautiful songs on Blood Flowers, including the song Blood Flowers and Out of This World and Watching Me Fall. That's a good album. And there's another, but most of the, in fact, all of the albums that The Cure did beginning with and after Disintegration were pretty bad. Some of them were filler albums, and they put pop songs on there and sold the album, and so that people would buy the pop song. And the pop songs that were very popular after that were, after Disintegration, were Friday I'm in Love and Apart and Jupiter Crash, and there were a few good pop songs. I also like Wrong Number, and there were a few good songs, but Wild Mood Swings was a horrible album. But the critics will put Disintegration at the top, and at the top of the list of great albums, and then they'll say, oh, well, the album at the top isn't a good album at all. The Top is a masterpiece. The Top is one of those albums that, it was written by Robert Smith. The songs were written by Robert Smith. The instruments were played by Robert Smith, and I don't think his band members had much input in that album, if any. So they weren't there to rein him in from crossing the boundaries and pushing the envelope and stepping and coloring outside of the lines. And he just created a masterpiece. The Top is a masterpiece, but that was before Disintegration. So everything from like their first album, the one with the refrigerator on it, I can't remember, Three Imaginary Boys, up through Kiss Me, Kiss Me, Kiss Me, are truly, truly great albums. Anyway, so this is my brother's cover, and what I like about this cover, there are many covers of this song. Dr. Dre's daughter has a karaoke cover, which sounds about like the Cure cover, because the Cure original, because they use the background music of the Cure. And Adele, Chrissie Hynde has a cover, which I don't particularly like either, and there's another cover by Adele, whose songs I absolutely hate. And I realize that Adele has a sense of humor about herself, and she has a good voice, but I don't like her songwriting at all. And she has a sort of slow jazz kind of cover. I don't like those slow cocktail lounge jazz covers. It's not really my thing. My brother did a cover, and he's playing a solo on a 12-string. And I really think this is the best cover I've heard. And I'm not saying that because he's my brother, because I'm very critical of my little hermanito. And I chased him around the house with the scissors, so when he wrecked my car, so no. I'm pretty critical, and I don't like most of his songs. His covers are very good. I do like some of his songs, and I did a cover myself of his song Collard Green Man. And I can't sing at all. I have good pitch and I have good timing, but I have a terrible voice, so I can't sing. But I did a cover of his song Collard Green Man because I like the song. And it wasn't on YouTube, so I put it on there so you can look it up. But what I like about my brother's cover of Love Song by The Cure is the improvisation of the guitar work to the vocals, the background music to the vocals that he created is very good. It's very beautiful. And I'm very proud of you, little Hermanito, for doing this. So I'm going to play it now because if I don't, I'm going to run out of time. So here we go. I'm going to play you my brother's cover of a Love Song by The Cure. And his name, I'll tell you after, if there's time and space. And my brother's name is James Spurgin, and his stage name is James Clay Garrison. And his songs are on YouTube. Well, most of his songs aren't, but his covers are on YouTube, and he has 3 covers that I like. Sly and the Family Stones, Everybody is a Star, that's a very good cover of his. And Bill Withers' Use Me, and the cover of Eleanor Rigby, a reggae cover with Jesse Olema on fiddle, is a really great cover of Eleanor Rigby. And before I depart here, I would like to say that I truly love the guitar. And I played guitar for a couple of years, actually as a ukulele. And it was lying around the house, and I wasn't playing it, and my brother picked it up. He claims I gave it to him, and I claim he took it from me, but actually he started playing it, and I wasn't playing it anymore. And I wish I had not given it up. I think I could have been good at guitar, but it wouldn't matter now because I have ME, and I'm too weak to play the guitar. My hands, it hurt. I have neuropathy pain and not able to do it. But what can I say? I'm an American girl. I love the sound of screeching metal. I love the guitar. And I do like rock better than pop, but The Cure have done some very great pop songs. And I think Just Like Heaven is one of the greatest pop songs ever written. And it's the one that catapulted them into international stardom, and it's a beautifully done pop song. And in general, I do like rock songs better, though. Rock music better than pop, but The Cure have done some very, very pretty pop songs. And I think that may be all I have to say for today. Strike a pose. So that's it for the day, and we will be seeing you. I'm going to start a little column here, a little video column called Contrarian Nation. And this is episode 1, and my guest star was my brother, playing Love Song by The Cure. And I do like the way he turned it into sort of a ballad instead of a overproduced sounding pop song. And again, I'm not saying that because he's my brother, because I'm so critical. And it's easy to be critical of my brother because he's difficult. So there you have it. And we will be seeing you with episode 2, in which I may discuss the films of Todd Haynes, my favorite director. The two last aesthetes in the world are me and Todd Haynes. Todd Haynes, by the way, is a big music fan, and he did a really great film on Bob Dylan, and he did one on Karen Carpenter, and he did a wonderful film on David Bowie and Iggy Pop and Lou Reed called Velvet Goldmine, loosely based upon those 3 characters. And some people think the film is a gaudy mess. I think it's a beautiful film. So that will be my next installment, probably talking about the films of Todd Haynes. And that will be it today. Strike a pose.